Audio check.
Audio check.
Alright, I think
Yeah.
it is audible now.
Okay.
Audio check. Alright, I think it is audible now.
But why is it?
It is audible now.
I don't know why is it
But why is it?
echoing or probably. Yeah, but I'm not. Just check your
Yeah, I can hear myself.
audio. Alright, fantastic. Alright, hello, viewers. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you're joining us from or would be watching the stream later on. As we are, welcome to the Hybrid Theory Racing League Division Numero Uno. I'm not sure what round it is, but we are in Suzuka in Japan. And joining me on the comms box right now is Redstone Derp. How are you doing, Redstone?
I'm good, DC Level. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, very well too. So, what do you think about Suzuka? What do you think about the track? And how do
I
you
think
think
it's a
qualifying is going
roller
to pan
coaster
out?
of attack, and like I absolutely love driving here, and it's so like on the edge everywhere. So it's going to be quite an interesting race, nonetheless.
Yep, it is one of a very difficult track to overtake. Pretty much only one, the start finish straight. Pretty much one place where you can make a move, but expect to see different setups where drivers some going for higher downforce versus some going for more straight line speed, and the ones with higher downforce, if they are courageous enough, they can pull out a move on the S's as well.
Definitely.
Yes,
So who do
as
you think? Who
Azul.
do you think is gonna bag pole just for the points? As in Numero Uno, we follow a reverse grid format, so
So I think
qualifying is just for points. What do you think is gonna? Who do you think is gonna put it on pole, Gaurav?
VFX might just put it on pole. That's the obvious pick of the drivers. But right now, Azun is on a set of medium tires. I think he
Yeah,
is.
he's probably doing race runs and like trying to get a feel of the car.
Yep. So probably let's pick a car. Shrikant Das has just started his lap. Why don't you take us through this lap?
Shrikant Das. Okay. Keeps it nice and easy through there. Avoids getting too much on the curve. Understeers a little. Doesn't look particularly fast, but yeah, I don't think he's doing much there. I think it's not going to be a great lap time from him. Let's see how he takes Degner 1 quite fairly well. Degner 2 is the apex, goes wide. Yeah, I don't think that's going to boil out well for Shrikant Das. Is anyone else starting a lap?
Probably
Meanwhile,
a
Takubo
back.
on the grass.
There are a lot of other drivers starting a lap. Meanwhile, if you want to go with Rev King, another fast driver, if you want to take
Yeah.
us now approaching Degner 1 probably. Over to you.
Yeah, Degner 2, he gets on the gas nice and early. Keeps it to the right for the next braking point. Little hesitant on the throttle. Oh, and he loses the car a bit. Let's see, rounding up this corner. Goes a little wide, but gets this apex fairly well. Gets on the gas. I think we'll see a respectful lap time from Left King, but I think he's one of the fastest drivers I've ever had the pleasure of racing against. And meanwhile, GRL Mosquito's retired from the session already.
Yep, and
Going into this chicane, keeps it nice and easy, gets early on the throttle, short shifts, keeps it to the right, and that's a 137.80 from him.
Yep, and just a few hundredths, 12 thousandths of a second ahead is Abhishek in that Aston Martin. So a good lap time set in, or good banker time set in by these drivers. Yep, make that 21 thousandths of a second between Abhishek's the front two. then a zone 9 tenths behind on a set of medium tires, I believe. I don't think those are the softs.
No, those
Yep,
are the mediums, and I'm pretty sure he's on a higher fuel load as well, given like he's
and
been
so
going
is
around the track for a while now.
VFix. And between splitting a zone, the medium runners is where Shrikant Das found himself. So expect him also to be improving on his time, as there's an Alpha Tauri that just crossed the line of PSI Legends and he goes P3.
It's
So good
quite
time.
close with the
And
top
there's
three there.
another Alpha Tauri that has crossed the line of Anton Hyper and he goes P4. So an Alpha Tauri second row right now, as there's a McLaren of Azun who's probably back into the pit.
Meanwhile,
And
Oxidize
we
is
fix.
starting a lap. He's been rapid lately, so you want to take us through that lap, Gaurav?
Alright, Oxidized Rage now coming up, approaching the SS section,
Oh, and he loses
and he
it.
loses his car, just gets a tad bit early on the throttle. That might just be a long ride back to the
Meanwhile,
pits.
VFix has done a 133 on mediums. That's outrageous.
They have 4 tenths clear off the driver at P2 on a set of soft tires, so he's finding a lot of pace there, but will obviously start the race at the back of the grid, but would want to bag as many points as he can in out of this qualifying session, as we see a lot of drivers still in the pits not having set in any kind of times. Spandan the gamer is also on a lap, so let's probably stick on board with him as he now approaches the two Degnas. Takes it fairly tidy, I think. Uh, it's important to get a good exit now here. Another tricky corner if you are running ABS off. It's easy for you to lock up. Need to line your car up out to get a brilliant exit. Again, a flat out corner. Not really a corner this time, but as now he approaches Spoon, another corner where you really need to line your exit up so that you get the max. You can carry maximum momentum as you can through this fast, flat out uh, straight, as now he approaches 130R and then please flat
And
out.
he
Oh, he
invalidates.
rides the curve just a bit too aggressively, and that's the end of his lap there. As
Meanwhile,
Tanish
Hashi is
is,
going to round up a lap, so
let's see where he puts his car, getting out of 130R. Probably the slowest
oh,
break. Oh, and he gets a bit too much on the curve and invalidates his lap. The Phantom, is he on a run? He's already done 2 laps on those soft tires, so he's also probably doing some kind of race runs, maybe.
uh, meanwhile, Chips Chima is going to start a lap.
Yep, Chip Schema is also going to start a lap. So, but I think his red light is still flashing. He's not deploying any kind of battery, so I'm
Maybe
not
he's
sure if
doing
that's
race
a
runs
race
as
run.
well.
Yep,
Yeah.
possibly, as half the grid is still in the pits and hasn't set in any kind of a time. Thakurva is also now coming to start his lap, so we'll probably come back to him later, as we don't know what the conditions would be like for the race as well. As much as there's a 3 lapter, oh, there was a moment's freeze there, I think, because of crossplay being enabled. But I hope these drivers are not facing much of a lag and they don't during the race as well. As
And
coming to a
Codemasters have royally screwed things up for me as well because I'm unable to change camera mode for some reason.
try pausing and unpausing your game.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, it works fairly well now.
Alright, VFix is also now on an outlap on a set of soft tires, so oh, what was that? I don't know what was that. Was a slow car of Revking? Oh, okay, I think that was Revking probably was ghosted there, but there's a Another fast car approaching off a zone right behind him, and Rev King just spins out to give him that position. I don't know what, not very sure what happened there in those seconds, but let's come back to him later as the Alpines are crossing the line. I think they're going to start a lap, is it?
Oh,
Oh,
Phantom just clipped the pit wall and retired.
yeah, I just caught that momentarily as I was coming there. As Chip Schema is definitely doing some other kind of runs. But let's see, Spandan the gamer has just started a lap, I believe. So can come back to him as VFix I think is also starting a lap. So we can come back to him as there's an Aston Martin Abhishek that just put in okay and
Azun puts it
Azun.
on provisional pole with a 1:33. That's a good time from him, but
Yep, that's a good time, but expect that to be beaten with the likes of VFix approaching the middle sector right now. But let's see, there's a Red Bull that's also starting lap, or is Hershey has gone into the pits. As Anton Hyper Z is also coming to, he's also started a lap probably. Yep, he has. Alright, so I think the next driver to cross should be Chip Schema, but yep, it looks like he is. No, he isn't. He is not using any kind of battery here.
I
So
think he's
still
just doing
on
race
race runs, I think
runs.
he might just go
Yeah.
back, dash back into the pits this time around. But Spandan the gamer has invalidated his lap time, and VFix is also now coming as he comes across 130R, a purple middle
An
sector,
oxidized rage with a 129.7.
129.7.
That's a mega time.
That's a brilliant time set by Oxidized Rage indeed. As now VFix is also coming to cross the line, 129.3
129.3.
for VFix.
Wow.
Those are some good lap times being coming in as Azun should be heading back to the pits, and so would Rev King. But Rev King is coming to cross the line, so I think he went on a lap and he goes P3. So Haas in an Alfa Romeo sandwich up top there.
What do you think,
Redstone.
Gaurav? Do you think we'll see times in the high 128s? Do you think that's possible?
I'm not very sure they're going to go into the 28s. The track may not evolve as much in the next 4.5 minutes or so. And but yeah, expect probably VFix might just go on a 129.0 or a 129.1. But yep, that's what my anticipation would be. But what about you? What do you think? Are you going to see? You think it's going to hit the 28s?
I'm not too sure about that. Like, I would say my guess would be a 129.1, probably, because VFix could gain 2 tenths, because I was riding on board with him throughout his lap, and he did encounter some traffic which might have thrown him off a bit.
That's
So maybe he has
fun.
a few more tenths in him. So
Yeah, he can probably come on a fresh set of tires with some evolved track. As Pandit the gamer had also just finally managed to not invalidate his lap and put in a time that is good enough for P7. Meanwhile, there is another Alfa Romeo. I think Rev King would be coming back to the pits. Yes, he is.
meanwhile, Anton approaching 130R right now. I don't think he's deploying anything. I think he's going to
Yep,
start a
no,
lap.
he's not improving on his time either. So probably either starting or heading back into the pits. Heading back into the pits is the answer. As Thakurva is on a run, so let's see how he navigates the spoon section. Just slightly misses off the apex, gets a tad bit of understeer, which would compromise his exit into the run down to 130R, a flat out corner. Wants to, let's see what, cuts the curve as much as he can, but still is not willing enough to take the shortest route, probably to gain a few hundredths but takes those curves, that chicane, last chicane rather neatly and sees himself in P6. So he stays P6 despite a
I
bit of
mean,
improvement on his time, I think.
he took the chicanes rather well, but I think he sort of double shifted after the chicane before getting onto the main straight. Instead of staying on fourth, he did go to fifth. So maybe that sort of compromised a few tenths for him.
Alright, so a bit of slipstream games between the Alpha Tauri and the Alpine, the Alpha Tauri of who was that?
Not sure what you're talking about, but
I think Chip Schema was just giving an Alpha Tauri a bit of toe, but I'm not able to figure out. I think that was PSI Legends who was getting a toe out of it.
oh, and as we speak, he crashes. PSI
Oh,
coming out of Digna 2. Oh no.
not the best of news for him right now in P11. Does he have enough time to come out again as Hershey has also spun in his outlap? So I don't think PSI Legends has enough time to come out again. Abhishek's also going to start a
Meanwhile,
lap.
Oxida is going to start a lap. Do you think he can improve, Gaurav?
Yeah, we
Just go on
definitely
board
can.
with
He'll
him.
be on a fresh set of tires, but right now I'd rather be looking at drivers who would be coming to cross the line. And the next driver, I think it is the Alpine of Chip Schema, but not on a representative lap. Although he's, yep, not on a representative lap. Definitely neither would be PSI Legends. So let's go with Rev King. So Rev King should be the next driver on a hot lap to cross the line. Let's see if he can put any. No, I don't think
No, his
he's on an out lap,
battery
is
is.
he?
Yeah, he's on an out lap.
Yep, he is on a
Azun's
out
going to
lap.
start a lap.
And
Meanwhile,
so would
VFix
VFix would
is.
also start a lap. So I think it's the Red
Yeah.
Bull. Where does our train start from? Hershey is also not improving, so because he spun. Anton is also not starting right now. So these drivers still.
And Oxidize has invalidated his lap, so that's quali over for him.
Not the best of news for Oxidize, and Shrikant Das is on a run, I think, but Shrikant Das has also finished his qualifying. So let's see, it's Hershey who is still to go, but there's a Mercedes that's crossing the line. I think that was Pandan the gamer, but there is Shrikant Das who's already done. How is he done already so early? I don't know. Was that a glitch? Oxidized Rage has also. There are drivers who've already finished their times. I didn't see them crossing the line. I see a spinner.
Meanwhile, Rev King. He's getting a nice slipstream from the Red Bull ahead of him. Is he going to. Oh no, and they both make contact! Oh, what's going on here? That was odd.
Alright, that seriously is very odd, and that is Thakurva, I think, was that?
Yeah.
No.
That was Thakurva. Because Tanish.
No, Thakurva is in the pits. It was Tanishq. I think it was Tanishq and Rev King who had weird moments there. I don't know what both those drivers were up to. If Tanishq was in control of his car or not, I'm not very sure.
No, but on my screen it said he had finished qualifying. Like the checkered flag was right next to his name, so that's quite
For
odd.
Tanishq?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he wasn't in control, but that's quite weird because I mean the game just gave in an early checkered flag. I don't know. I hope the lobby is just not out of sync. But yep, that is pretty much the end of qualifying for you folks. We fix with that pole position and taking P1, Oxidized Rage in P2, I believe. a Zune in P3, the front two, the only two drivers to put in a time in 29s. We fix hitting a 29.0. So, Azun, Rev King, Abhishek, PSI Legends, Thakurva, Anton, and or rather Anton rounding up the points finishers or the point scorers out of this qualifying. Meanwhile, Harshi, Spandan, Shrikant Das, Phantom, Chips, Avi, Pradeep, Tanishk, and Mosquito, the rest of the grid, which is pretty much meaningless because it's the top 8 that matters in this qualifying session. Now, let's see how the race unfolds as I will just go on mute, set our grid for the race, and then come back to you, viewers. Stay tuned with us. Yeah, that was AI, but yeah, I think there's still a while before we can go on mute because let's have a look at the 3 lap carnage that we might just get to see right now.
It's a nice way to blow off some steam.
Yep, Rev King might just be looking to take Tanishq out in here. Lights out for 3 laps, jump starts, crash and burn, guys, crash and burn. Crash, burn, crash, take each other out. Spandan is really on a mode push. There you go, retirements all around. Kill each other on the track, metaphorically. Yeah, 4 wide.
Oh my god.
Wow, that was so much fun. Alright, who's going to take someone out? Oh, there you go. At least one takeout. Spotted, caught in 4K. That was fun. There you go. Yeah, I think I did catch a lot of good takeouts and crashes on streams for the fun of it. But now, yes, you remaining drivers, please.
Meanwhile, Thakur were looking to finish the race.
Oh, ghosted. Chips came out
Abhi's
and
really trying hard to break that car into pieces, but that's not working for him.
alright, 2 drivers remaining. Probably. Okay, the ghosting is not letting them take each other out. Alright, let's get it over with. Boom. Whoa. Oh my god, that moving wheel is still moving the Aston Martin of Abhishek. Oh, funny game. Alright, viewers, we will just be right back after setting the entire grid. All right, as we are back, the grid is set, and hopefully we should be getting underway very soon. For 27 laps of racing around Japan or Suzuka, which is a pretty interesting and difficult track as we were talking about it earlier, Redstone. And you might just need that extra bit of straight line speed to be able to make that move on the start finish straight, which is also not a very long start finish straight per se.
No,
And
it's a
then you
very
can,
short run to turn one, relatively speaking, comparing it to other tracks. But
yep.
yeah,
And if
but
you
again,
just
it's
get
about
the
finding
exit
the.
out,
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
go for it, go for it.
No, all I was saying is like setting up the cars for Japan's more about like the finding the ideal balance between a straight line and downforce. So
Right?
being able to nail that can really prove to be advantageous in the race.
Yeah,
So
and along with that, the exit through the final chicane as well as the exit through Spoon, because that is also another straight where you can probably see drivers going side by side. Uh, but let's see what we have in store around tonight, as we don't know what the weather would also be like. We have a dynamic weather setting, and I hope the drivers also remember to load their setups and have
I
a look at
mean,
the
it could
weather
be
as
really
well because
interesting. I was
yep, it's
saying it
going
could
to
be
be.
really interesting to see dynamic conditions, like a little bit of rain throughout the throughout the race. Of oh, it's raining.
You do have a bit of rain in the start, and looking at the clouds, I think we might just your wishes might just come true as we might just transition to dry conditions, but everything is poised and set as drivers would also be looking at those 7 blocks of weather that is there on their race strategy screen to figure out how long the rain is going to be and what kind of a strategy they want to pick for the race. But yeah, looks like inter conditions. Looking at the rain, what we
Yeah, it
have.
doesn't definitely seem like full wets to me. It's probably inters at best. So
Yep, hopefully we should see all the 17, 18 drivers on a set of intermediates. Now, Japan already a track difficult to make those overtakes. Now, with the rain in picture, these things might just get announced trickier for all these drivers. But yep, I keep a close eye out on the SS section. Redstone, maybe we might just see. Ooh, Anton
oh,
Hypers has left
Anton
the session.
Hypers has left the session.
Hopefully he
Oh,
can.
he's unable to race. Probably has some sort of an emergency to attend to. So I don't think we'll see much of him today. So that
Oh,
leaves us with 16 drivers, Gaurav.
alright, 16 drivers. Let's have a look at the grid, and why don't you throw your podium predictions? And even viewers on the stream, throw us your podium predictions. As formation lap is now underway, why am I not getting any controls? Okay, now I hopefully I unmuted myself, right? We are audible on the stream, no?
Can you just check?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can check.
Yeah, I did. We are.
All right. So my podium predictions would be, I would say VFX will end up on the podium, but winning, I am not really sure. But I would say the likes of TKB, Oxidized Rage, and VFX are my podium predictions, Gaurav. But a nice race.
All right. All right. Interesting. I would go for um, Chips, Phantom, and a Zoom. Let's go with them.
And if you're feeling really brave and if it's raining throughout the race, then you can just make those inters last through. You don't have to do a mandatory pit stop. So
Yep.
Maybe we see a few drivers on, like, a no-stop strategy, if I may. And Takurwa spins out the
Oh,
formation lap. Was that tactics to warm up the tires, or was it a genuine spin? We'll never know, I guess.
yeah, one will never know, but he was way too fast to take the formation lap. I think that just slowed him down and got the first half of the pack up, but there is a huge gap behind. Hopefully, the drivers are able to. They have taken those positions, clawed that distance back now for the race start. As let's see, take us through the race start, Aji.
Yeah. So, and Takurwa gets disqualified. Yeah. Good parking there from Abhi Srikandas. Drivers are really trying hard to warm up their tires, Gaurav. Wheel
Yep,
spinning
they
all the way
really
up to
need to
the
get the launch on these wet conditions.
VFX gets disqualified. Good parking there from PSI on the
All
list.
right, all
Okay. And 5 lights and away we go. Takurwa gets a decent start. Tanishq is on him. Abhi lets everyone through. What's going on there? Rounding up turn 1, Takurwa is in the lead. P2, Tanishq, and he has a moment getting on the curbs and he loses it.
and
And
Tanishq
he's
has just.
retired.
Is that going to be any kind of a safety car? No, that is a virtual safety car. Yes, that is.
I've got to say,
Oh,
Gaurav, that did sort of look intentional to me. But, I can only speculate that I don't know the facts.
uh,
But from what I know, that's
but
interesting.
I'm
Meanwhile,
not.
Chips is already into P4 and all this mess.
Jump Chips did get a good start. I think he gained six. And Spandan the gamer as well gained six positions with a great start in that Mercedes. And Deadly Mosquito is also in up in P3, so that's a good start for all these three drivers. And so would PSI Legends be happy with the start. URL Pradeep and Abhi moving out of the way as there is a broken wing of PSI Legends. I think he had a moment, and that's just going to cause a bit of confusion behind, which is hopefully.
Meanwhile, Anton Hyper's ghosted car could cause a bit of a pain for the guys behind him. So that's
And the
something to
ghosted
look out.
car gets a 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags as
And
we
it's
are back under green flag conditions as Thakurva goes very wide, which invites Spandan at the final chicane, but Spandan still holds
meanwhile,
back.
Chips on the back of GRL. Oh, and he gets shoved by Shrikant Das.
Yup, he did. He did get shoved there.
And Oxidize dives into the pits. I think he has damage, Gaurav.
Yup, he was the one. Was he the
Meanwhile,
driver who lost his wing there? Side by side, there is a lot of action for P7. There's a battle for P7 that's brewing on. Meanwhile, VFX is already up into P8. This is another we need to watch out. A battle we need to watch out for. But Abhishek makes a move on URL Pradeep at the S's, I think. And the ghosted car of Anton Hypers is just going to lose a lot of positions as Azun and Oxidize both are in the pits, and that is not for a different set of tires definitely, but wing damage. But there is an intense battle for P3 that is going on. You can make that P2 between
oh,
Spandan the
and VFX, I think. Oh no. I think he had a moment. Does he have a wing intact? His wing is intact. I think he had a moment. Meanwhile, the Red Bull of Hershey getting onto the grass. What's happening here, Gaurav?
So he just Hershey doesn't have a front wing, so he doesn't have that drive and that downforce that he needs to turn his car, and he would be heading back to the pits. Meanwhile, going back up to the battle for P2, it is an intense battle that is might just keep going on, as I think the rain has lightened further
And
and
Chips has
expect.
a moment coming out of the chicane. He's lost
Oh,
like a second to Shrikant Das. Meanwhile,
yep, he has.
Phantom on the back of PSI.
Oh, contact! I heard. I did hear contact. I think the game just gave me a really bad camera angle, but I think Shrikant Das did run into the back of GRL Mosquito, but I'm not very sure what happened there. But there definitely was some kind of contact between the two drivers. As now VFix and at the back of Phantom, who is at the back of PSI Legends, close, sticking close to the gearbox. But Repking having that understeer coming out through those S's, and Abhi and the ghosted car of Anton's having a different fight altogether.
The battle for P6 is between four cars. Now, PSI being slow has allowed the likes of Abhishek to catch up to the pack. That's a four-way fight.
Yep, it is, and it is a long 24 laps here around Suzuka and changing conditions as well. So expect the strategy to come out into picture as well, as Chip Schema just runs a bit wide through 130R, but still hasn't lost a lot of ground. But meanwhile, Shrikant Das, having made those moves on Deadly Mosquito and Chip Schema, is now up in
Meanwhile,
P3.
VFX closing in on Phantom. He's going for it. From the outside.
Oh, if it's just trying a Max versus Max.
Oh, and
And
PSI!
Phantom. No, that was Phantom, I think.
Yeah, PSI
probably
had a moment and then Phantom went to the back of him.
did
It was
Phantom
bad
go into
news
the
for
back? I
him.
think.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's awful.
And
PSI
that
is
calls
extremely
for
slow.
another virtual safety car. So PSI definitely struggling a lot for grip, and he's probably looking at these conditions. Probably might have gone for a dry setup, considering it might just be a dry race for a majority time. But VFX is right behind him, and we have VSC, so it's all neutralized right now. Is Anton back in the race? No, he isn't.
No. I just hope his ghosted car doesn't cause too many issues for.
But now,
the other
under
guy.
green flag conditions, Deadly Mosquito and Chip Schema, I think Chip Schema got a lightning restart there, and he has made a move on Deadly Mosquito and is now up in P4. So, a good lightning restart from Chip Schema under the VSC, and now in P4. Meanwhile, VFix on PSI Legends just a bit behind to be able to make any kind of move on this lap. And I think the battle for P6 and the battle for P4 are the two closest battles that we have. Meanwhile, Spandit the gamer has also clawed up a bit of ground.
Yeah, he's
on
gained almost
Thakurva.
1.2 seconds to Thakurva.
Yeah, and Feef is further gaining, so I think the rain has
Meanwhile,
lightened
VFX
out, and
gaining all the way, and he goes for a move, and he gets it done before Degner won.
Whoa.
And Spandan has lost it, has he? He has.
scope, and he just attaches himself to this battle for P6, but he doesn't have a front wing, so he needs to be cautious of all the drivers ahead. But now that is VFix
And
up in
VFix in
P5.
P5 already got up. Nothing
Yep,
can stop this man, can it? Of
yep,
the rain, no matter which position you put him in. That's a brilliant performance by him.
yep, that is
Meanwhile,
indeed
Abhishek's on the
just
back of
shows.
PSI. He's extremely close.
No, nothing doing there. I think PSI Legends does have that straight line speed with him, which protects him
Oh,
on the
and
stretch. Abhishek just gets a bit squirrely, but PSI Legends is in the pits. Is he going for a set of dry tires? I think it's a bit too early, and so is Spandan. So Spandan is going for a wing change, and so is PSI Legends as he's coming on a set of full wets. No, those are
Abhishek's
intermediates.
understeering all the way into turn one. Meanwhile, VFix has gained 1.3 seconds on GRL Mosquito, Gaurav. He's
Yep,
catching these guys and catching them by a huge margin.
yep,
And
and
as
it
we speak, it's 8 tenths now.
yeah, AWS overtaking insights right there, striking distance in probably 4 or 5 laps for P1 for VFix if he is going that way, but I think he would still be held up by the likes of Mosquito, Chip Schema, and Shrikant Das. It won't be easy for him to make those moves for P1, but definitely he is catching up a lot and making inroads as much as he can, and might just be looking to.
Look at the difference in grip, Gaurav.
Yeah, he does,
I
and he
think
makes
GRL
a.
Mosquito just let him through, not put up a fight.
Yeah, we didn't have the best of
And meanwhile,
run
he's
through
coming back at
Spoon,
him,
but he's
Gaurav.
coming back at him. Yep, he is. He is. Can he get that? Does he have that extra bit of straight line speed?
No,
Oh,
he's
not
not as
really.
brave going into 130R in wet conditions.
Yep, and
Meanwhile, Chips
VFix.
is going to be vulnerable now to VFix. And
Yep.
as we speak, Rev King on the back of URL Pradeep, he's 4 tenths behind, 3 tenths.
No move coming, but I see the rain has stopped there, Chip. So expect these drivers to keep going faster and get a lot of extra additional grip on those one inters as
Meanwhile,
Oxidize
Abhi is
has
in the
probably
pits and
Abhi, and so is Azun, and so is Hershey. So have these drivers decided to blink for a set of Abhi goes for a set of hard tires. Azun goes for a set of mediums, and what does
mediums.
Hershey do? Hershey is
PSI is
still
out
on
on.
coming on a set of intermediates. Has he not changed his strategy? I'm not very sure. I
PSI
don't
has
know.
come out
He
on
has
inters as well. Oh
PSI had
God.
boxed earlier, previous lap, and come out with
Meanwhile,
a front
VFix
wing.
and Chips. VFix and Chips.
Yep, GFix
Gets the
making a
move
move.
done. Going through Degno.
Yep, I think
Was
it was at
unbelievable.
that happen where he made that move on chip schema, but now up in P3. But I think when going from wet to dry, the best is to delay your pit stop as much as you can until the DRS gets enabled, because those inters seem to be the faster tire, and those hard tires you tend to lose that bit of time. But Thakurva has also now decided to box, so expect all these drivers to come into the pace. So has Shrikant Das. So is that a Mercedes double stack? Oh, sorry, Williams double stack. Yes, that is. And will Shrikant Das lose a position in this process? Chip Schema and VFix both have decided to continue. I think.
I don't think drives were
I
the right choice of tires as of now, Gaurav. What do you think?
Yep. Until you get the DRS enabled sign, I truly believe that as much as the mark on your radio says both the inters and the dries have comparable pace, but inters having
Meanwhile,
won out. But there is a yellow flag. There is a full
Takurwa.
sector 1 yellow flag for some reason. Was it Thakurva?
Yeah.
Yep, and that is
They're
precisely
really
the reason.
struggling out there for grip, Gaurav.
Yep.
Go on board with Shrikant Das. He's what's
Yeah, let's
going on
keep an
here
eye
between the
out on
Williams.
the distance between Thakurva, Srikandas, the pair of Thakurva, Srikandas, and the pair of Vfix Cutter and Chief Schema. Meanwhile, Srikandas looking for a move at Degna 1 on Thakurva. Abhishek has spun his car around. I think Abhishek and Rev King have made some kind of contact there, which allows URL Pradeep to go through, and that gap is now 22 seconds and increasing there.
So Takuba and Shrikant Das, the Williams boys, fighting all the way. That's just helping VFX and Chips. That's a free pit stop for them,
Yeah, it is, and they might just be able to maintain their positions even after
and they
coming
do
out.
dive
And
in.
the yeah, now it should be the right time to dive in, and I think the overcut is really powerful when you go from wedge to drive, and I'm assuming they are going to hold their position or might come very close, which is anyway a good news because
I
VFX
mean,
was more
Takuba is
than
just
4
rounding up the
seconds
final chicane, and
and
DRS has
DRS
been
has been
enabled
enabled.
now.
So perfect timing for VFix and Chips with that pit stop. And are they coming out on front? Let's see. Thakurva rounding up
Yes,
the
they
start finish
have.
straight. Both of them overcut. Thakurva is going to be very tricky. Oh, Thakurva turns in rather there and just chip schema in on those cold tires is now chip.
Oh, and
Oh, and he's been tapped.
Takurwa goes into the back of Chips.
Not Thakurva, but I think that
No.
was Shrikant Das who went into the back of Chips.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
Shrikant Das
this.
having a very eventful race. I think might just come under the scanner of the stewards for this week. But he doesn't have a front wing to contend with as well, and that has speeding under the safety car. That is, has that called a safety car? Yes,
It
that
has.
crash between the two has called for a safety car. Oh, that. But I know. I think these hearts can go pretty much go till the end of the race. So I don't think any of the drivers would be looking to pit.
I mean, this has just worked out brilliantly for VFX, Gaurav.
Yeah, he is in the lead of the race now, and he's got. And it's just 9 laps into this race, so he
And
might just
he
be looking
is on the
to.
hards, which means he can go the entire race distance. And now with the safety car, it's just going to preserve more tire life.
Yep, definitely that is he is definitely pretty much poised to take that. But let's see how things unfold over the next 2/3 of the race. We're done with 1/3 of it. Um, Alrighty, but I don't expect. Okay, Shrikant Das. Alright, he didn't have a front wing,
VFix
so
has
expect.
climbed 13 places, Gaurav. And right after that, Rev King's made up 7 positions. Chip Schema has made up 6. And yeah, 13 positions in a span of 10 laps in dynamic conditions. That's commendable, Gaurav.
It is indeed. It is. Purely shows the pace that he has and the
Harshi's made
consistency.
4 pit stops. Wow.
Alright, there are a few drivers who boxed for a set of medium tires. Abhishek. Oh, I think these are all the drivers involved in incidents, and Azun goes on a set of hard tires. So that's he would also be looking to go until the end on those tires. But yep, just be right back. Alrighty, just back after a quick break, but we fix in the lead. Thakurva behind him, Deadly Mosquito, Chip Schema, UR Pradeep, Avi, Spandan the Gamer, Oxidize, Anton, Shrikant Das rounding up the top 10 for now, right now, as there is a few drivers on the medium set and a driver on a soft set. I think that is the AI of Anton Hypers. But yeah, Bazoon is now
Meanwhile,
on a set of
Oxidize has
medium tires.
clawed back to P8, and he's on the hard tires.
Yep, that's good news for him as well, and he can look to make some kind of moves. Now the DRS would also be enabled. But there are these a few medium runners, and I am a bit skeptical if those mediums can go to the end of the race.
I mean, it's certainly a stretch, Gaurav, but I mean, after they cross around like 45-50% tire wear, like they're literally like, inters on a dry track. Like there's absolutely no grip whatsoever. But it will last, like I'm assuming it should. But hards is the right way to go. Maybe the medium runners are banking on a late safety car, so they can go on to the softs preferably. Not so sure about that call.
Yep, and generally we do, as drivers in league racing, we do generally plan to a strategy where a safety car coming out is considered. But there are sometimes a lot of surprises where you don't even get a single safety car, and then you rather have to get into fuel conservation mode as well. But that isn't the case right now. Let's see if we are to get another safety car. That's a beautiful helicopter shot of a few cars there. I saw a driver go into the pits. Okay, that was Abhi who's gone for a set of mediums as well. Alright. Which promotes Pandan the Gamer Oxidize Rage up another position. So that's just good news for them. Because it is, I mean, if you are stuck behind a hard runner and do not have that a bit of edge in terms of the speed that you need and the exits, you might just suffer despite having that grip and faster pace, because it is such a narrow track. Barely a few places rather where you can go side by side with the other car. Alright, safety car is in this lap. Aji, are you with me? I think my co-commentator has just ditched me around for a bit, and I think he's gone. As now, let's see, when does Thakurva decide to go on that safety car restart? He hasn't decided to go as yet, which is gets VFX side by side. Thakurwa looking to take it to the line. Oh, slowing down way too much, and now he finally decides to go, which has caused a pile up of cars behind people. There are drivers side by side, Chips and TRL Mosquito on those. Oh, contact, and Chips has sees himself spun around and at the back of the grid. Now Spandan the gamer looking to make a move on Deadly Mosquito, I think, but still decides to hold back. Now all these drivers now trying to follow suit of each other. Nobody really looking to make a move, but Azun is looking to make a move but loses his car, just goes a bit on the grass, has to take corrective action. Otherwise would have just now is now getting under attack from the Red Bull. I think that is the Red Bull of Hershey, which is there, but now Hershey has lost a place to Hershey as well. Now going back up here, Vfix and Thakur were pretty close to each other. Now Thakur were trying to stay as close to Vfix as much as he can and get whatever kind. Meanwhile, the Mercedes is also in a harsh sandwich of Deadly Mosquito and Oxidized Rage right behind him. So Oxidized Rage does have a lot of pace, but right now Spandan the gamer looking to make a move on Deadly Mosquito side by side, both the drivers as they run through to come down through the run of 130R. Now the Haas of Oxidized Rage also wants to get involved but still follows behind Deadly Mosquito as Shrikant Das almost comes close to making contact, and Oxidized Rage is in the pits for some reason, and which just promotes Shrikant Das and Abhishek and a lot of other drivers, as well as the Williams of Srikandas goes a bit wide through there, but still manages to hold his ground, as Hershey is also pretty close to the Phantom right behind, right up ahead rather. As going back up, Abhishek is pretty close to Srikandas, but these drivers still have to follow each other. And there is a move coming. Chips Kima has made a move on, and there's a yellow flag for someone. I think that's Spandan the gamer has lost his car big time at that same place where he did earlier, as there's contact between Hershey and the Phantom. I think Hershey probably looking to make a move on the inside of the Phantom, and both drivers end up making contact. Meanwhile, Shrikant Das trying to claw up time on Deadly Mosquito, and he has a medium runner of Abhishek also right behind him. Let's see what happens in this battle. Shrikant Das is gaining a lot, runs wide through 130R, but now at the tricky chicane, these two drivers came very close last time around as well, and now this time Shrikant Das with that grip advantage pulls on the inside of Deadly Mosquito with that straight line speed and those medium tires, and on those medium tires makes a good move on the Haas driver, who would now come under attack from Abhishek. Now Abhishek also looking, getting that grip. Can he go pull alongside on these tricky S's? No is the answer. Now he has to hold back, as now drivers approach Degna 1 and Degna 2. He really, can he get a better exit than Deadly Mosquito across that path? He does get a brilliant exit. He's almost side by side. Is he going to go for a move on the inside? No is the answer, as he still decides to hold back, stick back to the Haas driver, as there the AI of Anton Hypers was also losing a few positions, so that's nothing surprising. 7 lap old soft tires would definitely not give you the grip, as VFix has now pulled a 3-second lead to Thakurva, who has himself has a 3-second lead to Shrikant Das, but Abhishek is hot on the Haas driver side by side through the final chicane. Bit of contact between the two drivers, and Abhishek loses a lot of positions on due as a result of that contact. Oh, and as a spinner of Spandan, the gamer, I think, not having the best of times on those slow medium tires. Meanwhile, the Phantom, Abhi, and Hershey also pretty close to each other. But the Phantom looking to make a move on Abhi, on rather Hershey rather. Uh, Hershey made a move on him at the end exit of Degna 2, but now he's just gone, faced a bit of understeer and also almost came under attack from the Ferrari of Abhi behind. This is a four-way battle for P8. Abhishek's also super involved. Is Abhishek's looking to make a move around on the inside of Abhi? Is going on the outside. Abhi defending the middle of the track, preventing the drivers to get a better exit than him. PSI Legends is also looking to get involved in this process. Say, welcome to the chat, Wicked Vicky. Yes, hopefully Abhi will take 130R some way or the other. Right now, as they exit Spoon, there is an intense battle going between P8, P9, P10 now. Coming, no move coming here, but is there a move coming for any of these drivers? No is the answer. Right now, going back to the battle between Hershey and Phantom. Hershey. Meanwhile, Azun makes a move on Deadly Mosquito with the DRS advantage, and so does the Phantom on the Red Bull driver, whose red light is also flashing, so not a lot of battery to contend with. And Azun is also making his way up the field, and Shrikant Das not really able to reduce the gap between him and his Williams counterpart. But let's see what happens. He's probably losing steam on those medium tires. But right now, Hershey and Abhishek come fairly pretty close, and Phantom has retired from the session as Abhi was spinning. And is that a safety car? Yes, that is another safety car. Alright, so that's good news for these medium runners and also for the hard runners. I think they can go on a set of mediums until the end of the race. The softs might just be a tad bit stretching them just a bit. They might get that grip and that pace advantage for the initial 4 laps. But I think we still have 8 laps of green flag racing to go as V6 decides to continue. So he doesn't want to pit, so does Thakurva. But Shrikant Das has decided to box, and so has Rev King, and so has Azun. What does Mosquito do? Mosquito also goes into the pits. Chip Schema decides to continue. And Deadly Mosquito also in the pits, so I think, okay, Deadly Mosquito was already in the pits. Abhi in the pits. PSI Legends probably deciding to continue. So there are a lot of hard runners up ahead. Anton not in the race really. Spandan the Gamer and URL Pradeep expect these drivers to also get into the pits, as Deadly Mosquito is the only driver to have come out on a set of soft tires. Alright, so he is going to look to take those softs through to the end. So let's see how that gamble plays off for him. He's right now P9. Let's see where he finds himself later on. Alright. Ajitesh, are you back with me? I think Ajitesh has just ditched me in the middle of comms and gone. Alright, Spandan the Gamer also on a set of soft tires. Alright, so this is interesting. The top 6 on a set of hard tires. Rev King right behind on a fresh set of mediums. Azun with slightly scrapped tires, and Aditesh has left the party and he has joined the party again. Okay. Hello, hello, Yash. Welcome to the stream. Okay, this is the very first time I'm getting comments. I'm able to see comments here. Nice, interesting. Yep, indeed, Yash. It is another VFX Sunday drive so far. It's been a convincing drive on the wets. We had 9 laps of intermediate tire running, and VFX managed to claw up all those positions and found himself at the lead of the race at the transitions, and that has been the case ever since. Yep, let's just find a cause and a violation and penalize him. I think he went a bit. Alright, Ajitesh is probably having some kind of technical issues. You're on mute if you're talking, Aji. No, you're not on mute actually. Okay, I don't know what's up. Alright, the Aston Martin of URL Pradeep should. Nope, cannot hear you. Cannot hear you, Ajitesh. Okay, safety car is in this lap, so let's get back. That was a pretty late safety car restart call, and this time we fix doing the safety car restart, and he has gone and has taken Thakurva napping a bit, which invites shift schema right to his gearbox. Now Thakurva pulling to the inside, just has that extra bit of straight line speed there as the drivers now coming across turn 1. Are there any kind of moves coming for any of them? Side by side go the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo. I think that's Rev King and Azun. Yes, that is Rev King and Azun, and right behind them is also GRL Mosquito. So these medium runners looking to make positions as much as they can, as the drivers have fairly cautiously navigated themselves out of this first lap of the safety car restart. After the safety car restart, rather, as Abhi has lost a position to Harshi and now will also come under attack from Abhishek. Abhishek having a bit of a moment coming out of Degna 2, which has. Oh, and GRL Mosquito has spun on those soft tires and has lost in a lot of positions, but side by side are the Williams. Go the Williams of Azun and Shrikant Das, and Azun barges his way through Spoon on those fresh set of mediums. He doesn't want to lose any kind of time behind the medium runners. But now this is an interesting train in the midfield as Shrikant Das almost runs into the back of the Alfa Romeo driver. But thankfully he managed to save himself, but he might just come under further attack from Harshi right behind him. And Harshi also, Abhi is also looking to keep himself involved in that battle, as now coming down through the end of lap 20. There's nothing No moves coming for any of those drivers as VFX has now pulled a 1 second lead to Thakurva, who has a second lead to Chip Schema, and Oxidized Rage has done a solid recovery and finds himself in P4. Alright, let me do that in a bit, but right now is a very interesting battle that is going on. So I will let me give you that invite. Alright. Okay, alright. I still can't hear you, Ajitesh, but Oxidized Rage at the back of Chip Schema. Let's see. Meanwhile, V6 Cutter also putting the fastest lap of the race, and there are a lot of drivers. Oh, moves coming. The McLaren on the Alpha Tauri of PSI Legends. So a zone on a mode push and making the most of those medium tires. Meanwhile, Repking would also look to dislodge PSI Legends as quickly as he can. But let's see, as Oxidized Rage is also still holding behind. As there's a yellow flag for Shrikant Das, and Shrikant Das has spun around on those hard tires, and that's a VSC for some reason. Okay. Alright, Shrikant Das doesn't have a wing as well, so that is precisely the reason for the VSC. Alright, as the race is just a tad bit neutralized, but the VSC might just be ending pretty soon. Let's see when that essentially happens. Looks like it is going to happen very soon because PSI Legends is trying to get a good run on Azun, but is now under attack from. Oh, whoa! That was some bit of Aji and the drivers just getting elbows out. I think PSI Legends tried to get a better restart from Azun, but he had to manage his delta, and which slowed him down and invited the Alfa Romeo into the picture. And I think both these drivers just going side by side through 130R and just take each other out. So might just be a long day coming in for the stewards. But yep, coming back, Avi has lost a position as a consequence of his spin. And meanwhile, going back up, Abhishek's trying to make a move. He's got a soft runner of Spandan ahead of him, who has a two medium runners ahead of him, and now Azun closing in all the gap that he can.
Hello.
Alright, finally I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I had to. Anyway,
Oxidized Rage now pulling all. Yep, it was pretty chaotic, pulling on the inside. Oxidized Rage was looking to pull on the inside of Chip Schema, but Chip Schema still holding his position. Now Oxidized Rage will get the DRS also, and now he's got Azun also right behind. Now Oxidized Rage and Chip Schema side by side through turn 1. I think Oxidized Rage decides to back out of it and live to fight another lap. He's got 2 more laps before he can two more laps and 3 more laps of racing and 2 more laps to probably plan his move, because he might just not get any kind of DRS or anything in the last lap. But the Red Bull and Mercedes of Hershey and Spandan the gamer are also pretty close side by side through the S's now, approaching towards Degna. One Spandan the gamer late of the breakers and holds on to his position as Hershey is now looking to line himself up through the exit of Degna to coming to this hairpin. It is a three-way fight between the Mercedes, Aston Martin, and the Red Bull. But let's see what comes out of it. Spandan the gamer still holding
is
ground.
just visibly faster, Gaurav. Look at how he's lifting off to not run into the back of him.
Yep, he is. He is
Gets
clearly
a brilliant
faster.
exit.
Yep, he needs to really line his exit through the chicane so that he gets the DRS as well. Now, as these drivers come through 130R, probably the closest battle right now, the battle for P3 and another battle
and
for
he goes
P6.
into the back of Chips.
Oh, that's just going to. I hope there's no front wing damage in that process. But Abhishek has spun again. I don't know if that was contact between those drivers, but those drivers were very close, definitely. But something did happen, I think, there, and Abhishek has lost a lot of ground again.
Meanwhile, the battle between Chips and Oxidize has just got Azun back into play.
Yep, it has. He was under a second the previous lap. Now he's under half a second this lap. And Oxidize has and retires. Oh no, that isn't what he would have wanted. Oh, he had so much of pace, and that was a promising podium position that has just slipped out of his hand.
He was eager on the throttle, which caused the rear to step out, and he tried to keep it out of the barriers, but that's unfortunate for him. But meanwhile, that's distracted Azun, and he's dropped back to Chips. The three of these guys were within a second of each other, and now this can just allow Chips to breathe a little and maybe cross the line, P3. That'll be an extraordinary result for Chips.
Yep, it might just. In his comeback race, Chips Schema was always had a lot of struggle in terms of joining lobbies and having to sit out races, but now coming back is promising, has a promising P3, but Azun would want to keep him honest. But now as we start the final lap of the race, I think it is just this lap where he really needs to, I mean, there isn't any kind of moves coming especially, and he just needs to really hold ground, and Azun will not even have any kind of DRS, so not a lot of bother for Chip Schema. We are in lap 26 already. There is one more lap to go. So if Azun gets within that 1 second, it might just be a little nervy for Chip Schema, but I think he might just... I think
those mediums are done, Gaurav. Look at how he's struggling to get the car turned in. He has absolutely no front end.
Yep, 11 laps on those medium tires is quite an ask. And not quite an ask, although they can do it, but definitely they might just be not having that pace. But yeah, now going through Spoon for a penultimate time, VFX has driven a dominant race.
Hashi on the back of Spandan, that's the closest battle that can be seen. 4 tenths behind. Hashi gets a brilliant exit out of Spoon.
So those soft tires really, Spandan the gamer really beginning to struggle on those soft tires. He shouldn't be rather fighting this much, but they are almost going side by side to 130R. Spandan goes way too deep into the corner, and now through the chicane, can he get a better exit than Spandan with the DRS?
He does.
But does he have enough ground to be able to make the move? This is one last shot for him to be able to retain his position. Hershey defending the middle of the track and does just about enough in his defense. Meanwhile, Abhishek and GRL Mosquito also pretty close. Abhishek, those soft tires have really run out of shape now. Abhishek, he does have a penalty to contend with, so he might not be as much as if he can gain that position on track, but he might have to concede it to Delhi Mosquito unless he pulls out a minimum of 3 seconds in the final 2 sectors. As now VFX is also approaching Spoon for 1 one final time, and he has a 9-second gap to Thakurba, and Azun has just lost all of that ground to Chip Schema. From 1.2, he is 2.7 seconds behind. So those mediums have definitely run their show, and Spandan has also lost a lot of ground to
Meanwhile, Abhishek's on
Hershey.
Mosquito.
Yep, and
Oh,
that
and he has a
is
moment.
as VFix comes to cross the
Set.
line, takes the fastest lap of the race on 19 lap old hard tires. Thakurwa taking P2, Chip Schema with an amazing comeback drive for P3. Azun coming home at P4, Hershey with P5 and a chain of cars right behind him. What's going to happen at the crossing? I think GRL Mosquito gets holds on to that position as Srikanth Das having a very eventful race, had a lot of speed in the pace in the wets as well and the dries, but those incidents putting him at the back of the grid and finishes P9, and assuming he would not lose that position because Anton Hypers definitely did not run the race. And Abhi finishing the last of our finishers and might just get that point over Anton Hypers because of Anton's non-participation. As Aji, can you invite our podium finishers
Yes, I
for
will
the
do that.
interviews as well as driver of the day for Azun? Definitely a topsy-turvy but a good drive, kept himself out of trouble and eventually taking that P4 and the driver of the day as we fixed Thakurva and Chip Schema, our podium finishers. A commanding drive by VFix to see the checkered flag. Azun in P4, Harshi in P5, Spandan the game up P6, Deadly Mosquito in P7, Abhishek's P8, Shrikant P9, Anton Hypers P10, and was practically disqualified or a non-participant of the race. Abhi in P11, the last of the finishers, as Oxida is losing his car and a promising podium in the final few laps. Rev King and PSI Legends getting entangled in a major incident. URL Pradeep, the Phantom, and Tanish retiring in the first lap. URL Pradeep and Phantom somewhere midway, not sure what happened to them. But yep, that is pretty much Japanese Grand Prix for you, ladies and gentlemen, as I believe we are just waiting for our podium finishers to join the party chat.
We're still waiting on Chips and Prefix, I think.
Yeah, if you can just ping them on Discord to probably as
I
well join.
have. So
Alrighty.
So meanwhile, while we wait for them, why don't we get started off with Takarwa? Gaurav, lead the way.
Sure. Thakurva, great race for you. I think good qualifying and good eventually final race, good race start for you. So take us through your race. How was it? And especially the changing conditions as well.
Hi, yeah, I mean, Japan's been inherently strong for me that way. It was good. I mean, initially the conditions were pretty tricky because we are running, all of us are running a dry setup with quite low downforce. So, initially it was hard, but then we realized turnover was pretty soon. So, just had to make it through there. And after that, it was pretty straightforward. But I made a mistake on pit exit. I had a spin on the cold hearts. Conditions were still pretty undrivable. So that's where I lost the lead of the S2 fix as well. Otherwise, I had a decent gap, about 9 to 10 seconds too. So that's why the race was lost. But nevertheless, after that it was pretty straightforward. So P2 then.
Good drive, Thakurva. Congratulations on that P2. Any questions, Aditesh, for Thakurva?
No, that was a very good race from him. He did a brilliant job. I mean, like, things could have been a little different if you didn't have that spin exiting the
Yep.
pits, I believe, on
Mm-hmm.
hards. But yeah,
Yep.
that was unfortunate. But nevertheless, a very good race from you. Congrats on your
Thanks,
podium.
Ajitesh. Thank you.
Right, moving to P3 then. Chip Schema on his comeback drive after all the challenges of joining a lobby and finally comes home to take P3. So great drive, Chips. Take us through your qualifying and the final race. How was it?
Well, qualifying was non-existent. I was doing race runs, and yeah, that's why I think I was what 6.5, 7 seconds slower than VFX in the end. But yeah, race was eventful. I'll just put it like that. Too many, I made contact with too many people, and it was just fun to have some chaos. But yeah, in the end, somehow I managed to get P3. I had no chance to catch up to Thakur. He was too fast today, and obviously VFX was out of the question. But yeah, good fun race today.
Great
That's
drive,
good,
Chips.
Chips. I have a question for you. What happened there between you and GRL Mosquito? I think you had a contact with him going
Um,
through the last chicane, I believe.
is mosquito? No, I
The
think that
GRL.
was oxidize.
Okay. I think it was
I
Mosquito
mean, I
from what I
I
remember.
collided with both the Haas boys. Once at the safety car restart when we had the just were on the dry tires, and once the later contact was with other Haas. I don't know who it was, but at the chicane. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was broke at my normal point. I think he just broke a bit late, but I'm not sure. So did that? I'm not sure what happened to him, but did it give him damage or something? Did you see that
No, I don't think
on
it
the
gave him
stream?
damage. He crashed out on his own, being a noob, so
He,
don't worry about that.
yep, I just saw that. Yep,
Okay, congratulations on that P3 and that good
and
podium,
congrats
Chips.
to Thakur and Vifix.
Yep. Thanks, Chips.
Alright, moving to our race winner, Aditesh. Why don't you take us away with him?
I mean, I have nothing to say to this guy. I mean, he's been phenomenal this race. Nothing, put him wherever, mixed conditions, whichever position, you still end up winning the race, VFX. Take us through your race.
Yeah, I mean the first 10 laps or so were very eventful. The next part not as much, but still just keeping it consistent towards the second part. But yeah, that first part getting through the trees, the jungle, as I like to say, bit difficult because it's Japan and turn one, you never know what could happen. So yeah, I was taking it so cautious through there and yeah, just trying not to get my wing broken. And then after that, just being stuck. Because I knew my setup had like a lot of straight line speed, but of course on intermediate conditions it's very hard to exploit that fact. So I was just trying to keep my nose as clean as possible until the dry period hit, and then after that I knew I could um, start pushing for actual overtakes. But yeah, I think Chips and I decided to stay out that extra lap. That's what Arjun told us that he didn't feel too great on the tires when he did pit. So that pretty much made it a bit more easier because I think I was 9 seconds behind Thakur, and I think he immediately spun coming out of the pits when he went to dry. So that kind of made the gap, that gave me the lead like instantaneously. So yeah, after that it was just controlling, managing the tires for a last fastest lap attempt. Had a bit of a moment at the first lap of the second Sipika restart. Kind of did a half spin, but that was pretty much it. Yeah. So I don't know how Arjun got the, no disrespect to Arjun, but I don't know how he got the driver of the day. Race directors must be on that Zaza, but yeah.
Great drive from your VFX yet again. I think you'll be leading the championship by like 100 points at this point, so good luck with that.
Yeah, I
Yep,
mean,
Do
we
you have
just
and
try
any
and take it.
questions for VFX, Gaurav?
no questions. I think a total dominant drive and a dominant display of championship race victories and fighting your way through the field. So keep up the good show and keep giving us this great show.
Yeah, thanks guys.
All right, that is it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for the stream. Thanks, Ajitesh, for joining on the comms box, and Hopefully, you enjoyed the race that we had. I most certainly did. And until next week, probably for our realistic division as well, we'll see you then. Until then, have a happy weekend and a very good night. Bye bye.
Bye.